Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Alright, where are my mods? Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Hey, y'all. Hold on, let me go grab a socks. Let me grab some socks. Whoa. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Y'all, I got so much for this podcast. When I tell y'all that I've had more revelations about my own self, about my own journey, about my own marriage, about just life in general. When I tell you I've gotten so many revelations just in these last 2 days, like, I am mind blown right now. I am mind blown right now. And this is why I've been saying recently, like, the goal is not to be healed. The goal is just to heal. Like, whatever it is that, like, hurts, whatever that is pain. Yeah, exactly. It's like, yeah, you really not. I feel like while you're alive, okay, even if you have, like, the best life ever and whatnot, right? There are still things that you have to deal with. There are still things that you have to face. There are still things that you have to, like, learn how to overcome. You get what I'm trying to say? It's like even the richest people on this planet, right? They still got to deal with certain things that may be within their families. Message. It's just like things aren't just resolved because you have a better life. You get what I'm trying to say? Exactly. And what I've come to realize was when I was young, I used to be so mad, right? I used to be so angry and so mad as this little kid, you know? And now I realize it's because I was being abused, okay? Like, legit. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I was being taken care of, but I was also being neglected and abused. And I was expected to be grateful for that. So it's like, as I'm getting abused, it's like I was being told, you need to be grateful for this. And a part of me always knew, like, that's not right. You get what I'm trying to say? So there was a part of me that would always fight back. You get what I'm trying to say? The part of me that would always fight back. And yesterday when I had the conversation with my dad, and I was basically calling my dad out on the shit that he has been lying about, okay? Like, things that he has been lying about to his own family, to me, to my brother, to everybody, basically, right? And he couldn't take accountability. And he was like, you and your little brother have always put the blame on me and told me how bad of a dad that I am. But he was like, did y'all ever thank me for what I did for y'all? And I straight up, the first thing that came out flying out my mouth was like, you want me to thank you for being a good dad to us under the age of 5? And then, oh, the rest of your life, my bad. But at least when you were 0 to 5, I I tried to be there for you. At least you got me as your dad before we moved to the United States. You should feel sorry for your brother, because that's when I really started neglecting you guys. That part. And immediately when I said, Dad, we are your children, we're your responsibility, you were never there for us mentally, emotionally, like you were really just not a dad to us. You provided finances, which, if we're being honest, the finances wasn't even enough. Okay, to the point where you said mom didn't do shit but take care of us, but she was busting her ass. You know what I'm saying? Like, she was busting her ass, side hustling, watching kids, doing nails, busting her fucking ass so that she could help you with your business and pay the bills and this, that, and the third. Meanwhile, you was spending the money that you felt like you were allowed to have because you earned it with her help. Okay? With her help, let's not forget, you only earned that money because, yeah, you was working, but who went and picked up the parts for you to work on? Who did all the invoicing and billing for the customers? Who picked up the phones and dealt with these people? Not your ass. You was in the back fixing cars. You know what I'm saying? You was in the back fixing cars. Meanwhile, my mom is waking up, making breakfast for us, taking us to school. Immediately after that, she's making food for you, to bring lunch to you, come feed you, do whatever it is that you ask her to do, then come home to take care of us. And what was you doing? Treating her like shit. Treating her like she wasn't fucking doing nothing. It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure, okay? Because this is the thing. If you can't have the hard conversations, you will have to live with difficult emotions. Either one. Either you're going to have the hard conversations or you're going to live with the difficult emotions. And best believe, when I had this conversation with him, bro, all the shit that I had been holding on as like responsibility for him, that shit gone. Gone. Fucking gone. Because he literally said, like, when I told him, like, regardless of whether you and mom had a like agreement that she was going to be there for us, okay, and you was just going to work and just choose not to be there for us, right? I was like, regardless, you know that you could have did better, but you chose not to do better. And I was like, now, ever since mom passed, you were like, well, y'all are over the age of 21. Y'all don't need your dad anymore. So I'm gone. I'm going to go live the life that I was supposed to live if I didn't have y'all. And I, when he said that, I said, you're a shit ass dad. I was like, you're a shit ass person. And I was like, now I understand why you always demonized your sister. Because I also spoke to my aunt before I talked to my dad. And everything that my aunt revealed to me, everything now completely makes sense. This is the reason why he abused the fuck out of me. This is why he abused the fuck out of my brother. This is why he abused the fuck out of my mom. Was all his own doing. He has never taken no responsibility. And he has always been an entitled ass motherfucker. Because one of the things that he used to always say about my aunt, and he still says to this day, right, is she was always doing better than me. And he felt like he could say that because when she came to America to start her business, right, and she needed money, he had the money, did not want to give it to her, right? Only gave it to her because my mom convinced him and was like, we don't have any kids. Like, she wants to start her business. Let's support her. Like, why not? We got the money. So then he gave the money, right? My aunt paid him back with interest. And my entire life growing up, he has always told me the story that my mom, that they had gave my aunt $20,000 and she took an entire year just to give $20,000 back. When I talked to my aunt, y'all, she told me that she gave him $30,000. She borrowed $20,000, and the next year, she gave him back $30,000. You know what the fuck this man said to me when I checked him about this yesterday? I asked him. I was like, Auntie just told me that the money that you said that you lent to her so that she could be doing well, right? Because she's always doing better than you, right? I was like, the thing that you was holding over her head, I was like, you never said that she gave you an extra $10,000. You know what he said? I didn't ask for that. Nobody told her to do that. What, she thinks she better than me? Oh! That's why you always thought that she thought she was better than you. Because she did right. And he always held it against her, saying that she never helped him with his business. Y'all, the truth of the story was, listen to me break this shit down right here, bro. This shit blew my fucking mind, okay? I remember that when he wanted to start his business, he did go and ask his sister for money, okay? And the story he always told me and my brothers, and again, one thing that my aunt said that was absolutely right, she was like, I don't understand why he was telling you this as a child. She was like, my kids don't even know none of the shit that happened and transpired when they were kids between me and your dad. She was like, but he just straight up involved y'all into it. I was like, yeah. But anyways, back to the point. When he wanted to start his business, okay? He went to go ask his sister to borrow the money. Remember, she borrowed money from him, right? And gave him money back on interest. Okay? So you would think that, like, you know, there would be some kind of, like, just general respect there, okay? So he goes and he asks my aunt for this money. Meanwhile, at that time, my aunt had just lost her second business. So she had one business and then she started another one and completely lost it. Okay, she was out she literally went broke. Okay, she only had $16,000 in her bank account. My dad asked her for 90. So she took 10 and gave it to him. And you know what he said? He said, you're only giving me $10,000 because you don't want me to succeed. You want me to fail. You know I can't do shit with this $10,000. And the story that he told me was always like, oh, she has the money. You know, she has the money. And he convinced my mom that she had the money, right? Because my mom, God bless her soul, she did, baby, when she moved here, up until she died, okay? She did not know no English. Okay, she does not know how like shit works in America. She don't know none of this fucking shit. Like, this is all being like, we're being led by my dumbass daddy. If we're being honest, okay? So he basically explained to my mom, okay, and listen to this, okay? He told his sister, I know you got the money. You paid off your house. So basically what he was telling his sister was, go take a second mortgage out so that you could lend me money so that I could start my business. Knowing that if he was unsuccessful, she was going to lose her house. Crazy. That man is crazy, okay? That man is crazy. So because she wouldn't lend him that $90,000 by pulling a second mortgage out on her fucking house, okay? From that moment on, he's hated his sister. He's hated his sister. And like from that moment on, I was never allowed to see my cousins anymore. Okay? And I was literally told that like, yeah, your aunt just didn't want to help us and she doesn't want us to be doing well and blah, 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 blah. So like how I said, like as an adult, I can recognize that, like, that man was lying to me. He was manipulating me. You know, he was doing that so that I could protect him as my dad. Message. Because I remember there were a couple times that I had discussions with my cousin, like, before they completely separated us and whatnot. And, you know, like, she was trying to tell me that, like, you know, her mom was saying that my dad was bad. And I was like, no, my dad's not bad. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're a kid. You only know to protect your parent. You know what I'm saying? Like, you ain't got the logic enough to, like, question fucking shit yet. Like, so, yeah, growing up and shit, it was just like, to a certain extent, I resented my other family. Like, I resented everybody else because to me, I was just like, y'all did us wrong and then y'all just never came back around again. When the fucking truth was, he did fucking wrong. He did fucking wrong. And he still continued to do fucking wrong. Like, the reason why I was in contact, like, I'm now back in contact with my other side of the family and finding out all this fucking truth and shit that my dad has been doing is because I told y'all. My mother passed, okay? Again, he never had the money to do shit for me and my brother. Look at my teeth. Clearly, he never sent me to the fucking dentist. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, he didn't even take care of that for his fucking children, okay? So, he never had the money to be able to take care of me and my brother, right? But what happened when my mom died? The second that she died, he wanted to leave us and go to Vietnam to live the life that he would have had and that he deserves because he's been working so hard as a dad. That's literally what he says. Okay? And so, again, like, he bought the house, right, with her life insurance money, right? Wanted me and my husband basically to pay him rent money so that he could go live in Vietnam, right? But we all know what happens when you go back to your country and shit. It always gonna cost you more money than you fucking think, bitch. It is what it is. You get what I'm trying to say? Why? Because back in the old country, they're like, baby, you from America, you got money. You know what I'm saying? You got money, baby. Yeah, because you got money compared to them. $1 in the United States is $12,000 in Vietnam. So, of course, like, he big baller. You get what I'm trying to say? He big baller. But what happens when you big baller and you're not used to being big baller? You balling out of fucking control. Okay? So, that's exactly what happened. He started balling out of fucking control and realized, oh, I need more money. I need more money. So what was he doing? He was squeezing my brother. He was squeezing me for fucking money. Right? He pressured my brother into taking over his business, which my brother did not want to fucking do. So my brother did fuck that up. You know, like, he did fuck it up because that's not what he wanted to do. And I don't blame him for fucking it up because now he knows what he wants to do. And that's what I told my dad. I was like, you were so mad about me not taking care of the house, but then it's like, okay, honestly, I didn't want a 2,000 square foot fucking house by my fucking self with just me and my husband. I didn't want that house and then have to Airbnb and rent it out. Like, I didn't want that. But I didn't know that I didn't want that until I got there. Same thing with my brother. He didn't know that he didn't want the business until he had the business and was like, oh, I don't want this. This is not what I want in life. And then when that was brought up, you know, like, he was just basically like, oh, you and your brother don't ever see the stuff that I do for you. You know, I gave you a house. Nobody gave me a house. Actually, mom gave you a house with her fucking life, you dumbass. So you gonna hold over my head what the fuck it is that you are supposed to do for me as a father? Why? Because nobody did it for you? Like, you jealous? You jealous of me for what you did for me? Are you crazy? You crazy. You're crazy. And he was like, you know, like, whatever. And I was like, Dad, that was never really my house. I was like, let's not forget that I did all the paperwork when mom passed. I know that I was not on mom's will and I was not on your will because you did that. But who was handling all the paperwork when mom passed? Not your ass. I was. So I was like, you never really gave me the house, because if you were really trying to give me the house, you would have put the house under my name. Then I would have been able to pay the property taxes. But I was like, you let me rent the house from you for 6 months. 4 out of those 6 months you were in Vietnam living it up, right? Realized you didn't have enough money from the money that I was paying you rent. Decided to force my brother to move into the house with me so that he would only have to pay $500 a month and he can give me the rest of his money. And then tell me, hey, in 6 months, I'm going to need you to pay the property taxes on a house that is technically not even legally yours. Because I want to go to Vietnam. Now I realize this whole time when he was acting like he didn't have money, this motherfucker had money, but he was in Vietnam blowing it on bitches. On fucking breakfast and pickleball. And so it was like, yeah, when he recently got scammed, so like when I told y'all, like he kicked us out the house so he can get the money so he can go to Vietnam, right? But apparently $175,000 wasn't going to be enough for him to live over there. So what was he trying to do? He was trying to flip that money. At first, he kept on telling me, hey, I'm going to go buy some land, throw a whole bunch of mobile houses on there, and you can watch it for me. You can collect the money. You can get paid from some of it, and then just send me some money every single month. And when I told him no, what did he do? He decided to get himself involved in some kind of shady ass fucking investment and got himself scammed out of all the fucking money. So when I'm going through this separation with my husband, right? And he knows, he's never helped me with fucking shit. If anything, he's always taken from me. Okay? And when I talked to my aunt, I realized how fucking wrong he was. And how wrong he is, y'all. He's been so jealous of my aunt saying that she spoils her kids rotten and this, that, and the other. When the truth of the reality, she was taking care of her kids the way that you're supposed to take care of your kids as a parent. Like when I told him, like, did you know that my cousins was able to stay with their parents for 5 years and save up their money before moving out on their own? Did you know that they got new cars? Like this man literally threw in my face, I got you 6 cars, all of which broke down within 6 months of me having it. Because they were literally the cars that your customer came and brought to you to fix. They did not have enough money to repair the car, so they just sold you the car for like $2,000 or whatever. And then you went and fixed 1 or 2 parts in the car and then gave that shit to me. Every single car that he ever given me was either 10 or 15 years old. On its last wheels. Like, I'm talking about the previous owners did not take care of those cars. The previous owners ran those cars into the fucking ground before it got to him, and then he gave it to me. Literally. So I was just like I asked him, I was like, why did you always sit there and like try to make it like your sister was spoiling her kids when she was just doing right by her kids? He was like, I ain't do none of that shit for you because you need to learn how to be self-sufficient. You need to learn how to be independent. And when I told my aunt that, you know what she told me? She said, yes, your kids are supposed to be able to be self-sufficient. Yes, they're supposed to be independent. But she's like, they cannot stand up in this world if as a parent, you don't give them nothing. She was like, as a parent, you're supposed to help your kids. That's how they become self-sufficient. That's how they become independent. And she was like, I am so sorry. She was like, V, you were so smart. You were so beautiful. You were so capable. I am so sorry that your dad has made you survive and fend for yourself since the age of 18. She was like, you moved out when you was 18 because you had no other choice because of the environment that he created for you. She was like, I am so sorry that I didn't know about this. I am so sorry that you literally had to sit out here and make it on your own for the last 11 years. Message. And one thing that really broke me, okay, one thing that really broke me was when she was telling me, she was like, you know, I recently saw a picture of you. You know, she's like, I recently saw a picture of you. And she was like, you were so beautiful. And she was like, I am not trying to be mean or I'm not trying to be rude. But she was like, it breaks my heart to see that you got crooked teeth. And she was like, because it's not about cosmetics. She's like, it's a health thing. She was like, because if your teeth are not straight, she was like, you'll bite your tongue a lot. If your teeth are not straight, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're going to have certain issues and problems dentally, like, later on. And she's like, you're supposed to go and get a cleaning, like, every so often and whatnot. And I started crying and I was like, they never took me to the dentist. I was like, they took me to the dentist when I was 9 and when I was 17. And I remember as a kid, I had to protect myself so fucking fiercely. Like, I realize now I had to protect myself so fiercely because it was like, if we ran out of toothpaste too fast, we would get yelled for it. Why are y'all being so wasteful? Why are you being so wasteful? You're only supposed to put this much on your toothbrush. Blah, 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 blah. Now, if we use the amount that he told us to use, your breath stank. Did you not brush your teeth today? Get out my face. Meanwhile, we never got cleanings. We only went to the dentist 2 times in our whole fucking lives. And she, like, my aunt was like, he could have taken care of that for you, but he didn't. And she was like, that breaks my heart. She was like, you know how much I had to spend on my kids' teeth? She's like, about 20 to 30 bands for them 3 kids. But she was like, I couldn't pay it up front. I've made payment plans. And she was like, he could have did the same thing. But see, in his mind, when he saw that my cousins had braces, he assumed that my aunt paid them off. I remember him saying something about it. Because I asked, I was like, I want braces. Why can't I get braces? He's like, we ain't got money like your aunt. She always been doing well. She always been doing good. When the truth of the matter was, he could have done better, dude. Like, he literally could have done better. He literally could have done better. And it's like, yesterday when I was talking to him, like, at some point, he basically just cut the conversation off and was like, okay, well, I just want you to do what makes you happy, you know. I'm going to do what makes me happy because I have to do what makes me happy now. And he was like, You and your brother are old enough. Y'all don't need me anymore. Okay? So I'm going to do what I need to do so that I can go and be in Vietnam. I'm just like, you dumbass motherfucker. Do you not realize that you are in the predicament that you are in now because your ass was trying to run away and go to live in Vietnam? And that's the thing that I realized. He suffered so badly throughout his life, and he will continue to suffer because he has been nothing but selfish since he had me and my brother. And when I asked him, why do you have to go to Vietnam so bad? Why do you have to be so lazy that like you didn't set yourself up for a retirement plan, right? But you want to go and just retire and not fucking do shit and not fucking work. I was like, why do you want to go and do that so much? Oh, because I wasn't able to do that because I had y'all. Motherfucker, you was barely taking care of us. You was barely taking care of us. And it's like when I talked to my brother, you know, when my brother was in high school, my dad had way more time. Okay, so like when I was growing up and whatnot, like up until we moved to America, so like until I was 5, like when we were in Germany, he was a little bit more present because he worked a little less. So like he worked a 9 to 5, so it was like he had a specific schedule. You know what I'm saying? When he came here, it was kind of like he had to work completely full time to be able to pay the bills and whatnot. So it was like, I got that time with him, and so did my brother a little bit until we came here. And then when we came here, like how I said, it was just like he worked and worked and worked for a good like 20, 15 years or whatever. But in the last like 2 years of my brother being in high school, he had more free time. So at that point in his life was when and I remember like he started having a little bit too much fucking free time because that motherfucker was starting to he was trying to do not the right things, okay? Like, y'all know what I'm talking about. Infidelity. So he had more time, right? But instead of being at home or instead of like going and watching my brother at practice and whatnot, right? He would go to the shop to fix his tools, to organize his tools. And my brother told me, he was like, there was one time that my mom had came to pick him up from practice. And she starts crying to him. And she was like, you know, your dad was just at home and he's literally 10 minutes down the street. And she was like, he can literally just come up here and just watch you for like 10 or 15 or maybe 20 minutes. She was like, you know, he can organize his tools at any time. And my brother was like, she said, I want him so badly to just want to be a dad to you. I want him so badly to just want to come and see his child doing something that he likes to do. And the crazy thing is, I don't think that my brother ever like realized it, but I realized it because I'm the oldest, right? I feel like my brother only played soccer because my dad did. Like, I remember when we were in Germany and like I was little and stuff, my dad used to always play soccer. Always. So I was like, my brother played soccer because he felt like my dad would take an interest in him. But he didn't. And my brother was telling me about how like, yeah, he feels bad for like fucking up the shop and fucking up the house and like doing all the things that he did to me and whatnot in the last couple of years. But it was because he was under so much pressure. You know, like he was just trying to figure it out. He was just like me. And he was telling me about like how happy he is now. And I'm crying because it's like, I'm happy. I'm not crying because I'm sad, you guys. Okay. I'm crying because I'm so happy for my brother. It's like, we didn't have our parents to help us find out what it is that we wanted to do in this life. You get what I'm trying to say? We had to figure that out for ourselves, and we did it. Like, we did it. We actually did it. And it's like he was talking about how he really loves his job now. And how, he works Tuesday to Saturday. But on Sundays, he does pop-ups. And he was telling me about how he makes the food that my mom used to make us as kids. And that shit broke. Like, that shit I just started crying because I was just like, he's happy. I can see it. I can see it. I can see that he's happy. But I can also feel the pain that he feels. That like nobody cares. Like the people that like are his family, he felt like they didn't care. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially my dad. And I realized in that moment that like he was telling me this because I didn't know. Like he's telling me about how he loves his job now and about how he loves doing his pop-ups and like how he makes all these little dishes and stuff that my mom used to make, and it just brings him so much joy to be able to like feed other people the way that my mom used to feed us. And I was just like, that made me really reflect on the fact that like, damn, I had been so caught up in my hurt. I had been so caught up in my trauma that I have not been a good sister. Like, I realize that now. I had been so like deep in my work. I had been so deep in my relationship even. And really, I lost hope. Like, I lost hope for family because of my dad. And I didn't realize that I had lost hope for family because of my dad. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. And it's like, he used to be my best friend, and it's like, because of the shit that we went through as kids, it's like, it drove us apart. It made us like not like each other anymore. It made us blame each other and resent each other. And it was like, there's still a part of me that always loves him, that always wants us to be able to like be around each other anymore. And it's like, he said that and he started crying too. And he was just like, I don't want to be distant from you. Like, I don't want to not have my big sister in my life. And I just felt like, there was a time where both of us were pushing each other away. We both like didn't want each other in each other's lives and stuff like that. And it was because like, again, like being around each other brought us more pain. Like it brought us more pain than it brought us joy, because again, like subconsciously we were being manipulated. You know what I'm saying? Like subconsciously we were being manipulated in like all different fronts. You get what I'm trying to say? Like all different fronts in it. And so it was kind of like we really had to like go through all of that. You get what I'm trying to say? Like we had to completely go through all of that. It's like, even right now, like me going through like this separation / divorce, right? Like for shit sure we have to separate. For shit sure I have to have the time for myself. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like my husband even told me, he was like, I had the time for me to find myself. He was like, I had the time. I left my household and I was able to find myself. I was able to like figure out what I really wanted in life. And he was like, I can admit now that like I had that time and then I had you to help me and stuff, and I fucked that up. I didn't appreciate you and I didn't see you for what it is that you were doing. And he was like, I realize now that like you ran away from your home essentially because you were being abused and because you were not safe there. And he was like, I was supposed to be the one to protect you. And he was like, that wasn't a responsibility that I was ready for. Because it was like, at that point, I had to be your boyfriend, but I also had to be your protector. And he was like, you going straight from your parents' home into this relationship and being my wife and taking care of me and doing all these stuff. He was like, you never got a chance to find out who you were really and like what you really wanted outside of me. And he's not wrong. He's not wrong. It's like, yeah, I've never had time for myself. I've never been able to have solitude. And he was like, now I understand why. He was like, I used to kind of, hold it against you that like you were being real pushy about getting married. But he was like, I understand now, because from the time that you were 18 until we got married, you were being a wife to me. You were taking care of me. And he was like, I took that for granted. And he was like, instead of me recognizing that, like, when you would be mean to me, because I can admit that sometimes I would be mean. He was like, every time that you were mean to me, or every single time that you would, like, act out or whatever, he was like, I understand now that you were just trying to protect yourself. He was like, I realize now every time that you reacted in that way, it was because I was hurting you in the same way that your dad had hurt you. In the same way that the world had hurt you. And I was doing it to you again. And acting like I wasn't doing anything. And he was like, and I can admit that, like, he was like, I can admit now that you were right about the fact that, like, you act the way that you acted, right? Because of your upbringing. And he was like, I was acting how I was acting because of my upbringing. But also the reinforcement of those upbringings. Message. So it was like, well, we had the separation, right? The last 2 days he's been at his mom's house. Well, as we all know, right? I caught him texting other girls. Now, I can admit to the fact that, like, I shouldn't have to go through somebody's phone. You get what I'm trying to say? Like, I can admit that would be uncomfortable for me if somebody just randomly picked up my phone and started going through it without my knowledge. So I understand, and I can take accountability for the fact that I did violate his privacy. But both of us can also admit that, like, he left that phone on purpose and he kind of wanted to get caught. Because he was contemplating on a way to tell me what it is that he had been doing. And so, oh, my ear. And so, obviously, when he goes to his mom's house, like, he tells her everything. Like, he tells her what he has done. And blase, 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 blase. And basically, it's more so like, again, she, like, every single time that we've ever had, like, issues or whatever, she like basically tries to get her best to get him completely away from me, and like just basically like, hurry up and leave that girl. I don't like that girl. She's not the girl for you. And that's the same energy that my dad gives me. It's like, he's not the right man. He doesn't love you. He doesn't blah, 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 blah. Like, both of our parents, his mom and my dad, have the same energy towards us and our partners, low key. You know what I'm saying? Low key. Like, all the shit that I would say to you. You're my child, so I'm not gonna say that to you, but I'm gonna say it about them. Man, you get what I'm saying? So it was like, during the separation, we realized, one, we were still fully operating out of our childhood traumas, even though we were aware of certain things. And then two, those childhood traumas were being reinforced by our parents. Because at the end of the day, we did look to our parents for some kind of validation or some kind of love or some kind of acceptance. And those two motherfuckers, we got dealt the parents that we needed to get dealt with, essentially. Thank you. Okay? We got dealt the parents that we needed in order for us to transcend the generational cycles that had been repeating in our families. And so it's like, okay, while he was over there, right? all of his siblings, like when he was crying to them, like, you know, basically like, I'm so sad because I had to leave the house because I fucked up. His sisters and his siblings dead ass looked at him and was like, I know that you're crying right now, okay? And I know that you're sad, but you deserve this shit because you fucked up. They were like, you know better than that. And I understand, like, I can take full accountability, okay? That I have said things that I would never fucking do to him. So I can understand that, like, when I have gotten angry at him before, or I've gotten mad, or I've been suspicious about certain things, or I feel like I'm done with him, or whatever, I have said things out of my mouth like, I want to go fuck somebody else. Oh, you don't want to take me on a date? All right, I'll go on a date with somebody else. Oh, you don't want to be there for me? Don't be surprised when somebody else starts being there for me. I was talking recklessly. Even if that was how I felt in the moment, right? I had the choice to sit with that rather than to project that hurt onto my husband. So I completely understand how when I was saying stuff like that, right? How if he also felt the same way, like, oh, I could go fuck another bitch. I could go get head from another bitch if you don't want to fucking give it. Like, you know what I'm saying? I understand why he didn't say that to me. Because he knew if I say that to her. So in a sense, I was doing something that I could not take. Message. Because it's like, yeah, when I caught him texting other girls and like planning to meet up with them, but not like he told me like, yeah, I didn't follow through with it. Like, I didn't follow through with it. Like, yeah, I would say, oh, I'm going to meet up with this girl, but I never did it. And then I never texted her ever again after that. Because I realized, what the fuck am I doing? And then for me, in the beginning, I was just like, okay, so when were you going to tell me about this? And he was like, I literally was finding a way to talk to you about this. And then, like, you went through my phone and found out about it. And I was like, yeah, because you really never had the intention of talking about it, or you was just taking too fucking long to do it. So it just needed to transpire the way that it needed to transpire. You get what I'm trying to say? Exactly. It is hurtful as fuck. And he had to recognize what the fuck he did. He had to recognize what the fuck he did. Because he started, like, he broke the fuck down and he was like, I realized that you wait all day for me. He was like, you wait all day for me and I did this to you. He was like, that's exactly. He was like, no wonder why you was mean. No wonder why you was distant. No wonder why I felt like you wasn't being the best wife that you could be, because I was being a horrible husband. He was like, you always told me I was nonchalant. And I would always sit there and say, no, I'm not. And he was like, in the last 2 days, he was like, I've reflected on my actions and I realized I was nonchalant. And I was like, do you understand now how I felt? Do you understand how gaslighted I felt? Because I was like, if anything, I've been so overstanding about why it is that you are the way that you are. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, to a certain extent, I also like understood that, like, I'm not supposed to work my husband. You get what I'm saying? Like, I'm not supposed to try to fix my husband. I'm not supposed to try to change my husband. I can help him grow. I can provide encouragement, right? But I can't force And that was one thing that he said. He was like, he was like, I don't want you to feel forced to do certain things for me. He was like, I want you to willingly be able to do it. And I now understand that you also want that too. He was like, now I understand when you would tell me like, oh, okay, I want flowers. And he was like, and I wouldn't get the flowers, right? And he was like, because I couldn't get the flowers. But he was like, when I could get the flowers, I would get you the flowers. And then you would be like, oh, you're only getting me the flowers because I told you to get me flowers. He was like, I didn't understand that, like, you had been asking me for so long before I finally did it. And so, of course, now that I finally did it, you don't want it anymore. And he was like, I didn't understand that. I felt like you were being unappreciative of the fact that here, I'm finally getting you flowers. Like, why aren't you happy? And it's because at that point, I done figured out flowers is not what makes me happy. Actually, flowers die. Get me a plant. So it's like at that point, I was like, yeah, because I didn't want flowers anymore. At that point, I've told you I want plants. And you don't give me plants. You get me flowers. And now I'm like, bitch, you stuck in the past. What the fuck? Message. A message. Jen, girl, sign up for mentorship. Sign up for mentorship. A message. Whoa. Whoa. But I say it all the time, like, friendships will divinely align, okay? Friendships will divinely align. But then again, like how I told y'all, because that was a reflection of him. He couldn't listen to me because he wasn't listening to himself. Message. A message. But back to like when he was at the house and he made the realization, like when his siblings got on his ass, right? Because he was basically like, he made the realization of like, oh yeah, in my mama's eyes, I really can do no wrong. And I had been telling him that from the jump. Like, I've always said, like, no matter what you do, your mama's always going to, like, act like you're right and this, that, and the third and blah, 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 whatever, right? And he was like, his siblings, like, told him, like, I know you sad right now, but the fuck? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know better than that. And then, like, I guess his mom was, like, acting or saying something, like, she was saying or doing something. And the siblings were like, stop acting like stop acting like what he did was right. You know what I'm saying? Because she kept on being like, well, I know that she's mean to him. I know that she don't respect him. I know that she's rude to him because she's rude to me. I know how the fuck she is. I don't understand why he keeps on going back to her and right? And my husband had to check her and tell her like, okay, you're saying all of these things about V and like how she's just so bad and this, that, and the third. But one, you don't know what it is that I've been doing to her. You don't know what it is that I've, what has transpired in our relationship. And then he was like, two, she responds in that way to defend herself, to protect herself. So he was like, okay, when she's acting like that towards me, I am doing something to her where she feels like she needs to defend and protect herself. And he was like, you need to also realize she might be rude and disrespectful to you because you were attacking her. And mama just like daddy, okay? Mama just like daddy don't want to take no fucking accountability. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I realize now, wow. The parent that took the most responsibility for us was not the most responsible person at all. Like, both of those parents had neglected their children in various ways. And then because under the guise of, well, I'm a working parent. Well, you're a kid that I have to take care of. That justifies how they've done what they've done. Message. That's why I told y'all, like, I knew that it wasn't him talking when he said, like, when I've come to realize now, like, all the most hurtful things that me and my husband has ever said to each other didn't even come from us. That shit came from our parents. And subconsciously, they knew, I can hurt you. I've been hurting you, so I know how to hurt you. But I could hurt you more by hurting the person that you love. I mean, think about it. What do they show in movies? What do they show in movies? Right? When the arch nemesis, Spider-Man, hello, he doesn't fuck with Spider-Man. He fucked with Mary Jane. Because he knew that it would hurt Spider-Man in a way that he could not physically hurt him. He was like, damn, I can't kill you, Spider-Man. All right, I'm about to break your heart. And one thing that I've come to realize is that they do that because they don't believe in love. At the end of the fucking day, that's the one fucking common thing that I realized between his mother and my mother. The situation between his mother and his father, the relationship between my mother and my father, all of the things that connect is that they didn't believe in love. They didn't believe that they were deserving of love. So they looked for that love within their children. They expected that love that they never got from anywhere else from their children. So in the way that my grandma expected my dad and my aunts and stuff to take care of her was because she sacrificed and stayed with a man that was beating her ass, beating her kids. So she had nothing. So yeah, in some way, shape, or form, she felt entitled, like, y'all kind of owe me because I raised y'all. But again, that wasn't right either. That wasn't right either. And I realized that, like, my aunt did what she was supposed to do. She healed herself. She transmuted all the things that was given to her. You get what I'm saying? And my dad looked at that and was jealous. My dad looked at that and wasn't inspired. He used that as a reason to, like, bring his sister down, demonize his sister, demonize his family, make them pay back for all the pain that he felt. When it's like, you're a man. Your sister is a woman. But because I'm pretty sure he blames his mom, you get what I'm trying to say? Like, you could have left that man. Why didn't you leave that man? Why did you have 7 kids with him and let him beat on you and his whatever, all of us? I feel like because he still has not forgiven his mother for that, right? That's why he expects gratitude out of me and my brother. For the things that he has done for us. That he felt like nobody did for me. So really, I don't need to do this for you. But I'm doing this for you because you're my child. It's like, the hell? Literally, it's like, what the hell? What are you on, sir? For real. What are you on? What are you on? Because one thing that I've come to realize is that building a happy life requires a happy foundation. You get what I'm trying to say? Like, just like how my aunt was like, in order for your kids to be successful and like reach their fullest potential in life, she was like, as a parent, you got to help them. You can't kick your kid out at 18 and be like, oh, why can't you take care of yourself and why can't you take care of me? Bitch, you kicked the child out at 18. Like, if they made it, great. If they didn't, you should be blaming your fucking self. Message. Exactly. That part. And what I've come up to realize is that, like, a lot of our parents had really fucked up foundations. Like, really fucked up foundations. Not to mention the societal things that were happening at that time. So it was like, I feel like my dad blamed my grandma, his mother, but also felt like I can't blame my mother because she was doing the best that she could, right? But I also blamed her because, like, the Vietnam War was happening and, like, she was trying to save and protect them and stuff. It's like how I said, it's like he blames other people for stuff that, like, nobody has control over. You get what I'm trying to say? And when I told him, right, like, how my cousins was able to stay in the house until they were ready to, like, leave, essentially, like 5 years or whatever. He was like, well, when you were 18, I remember you packed your bags and you was threatening to leave. And I was like, because since I was like 14, 13, 12, I was like, to be honest, my whole fucking life, I was like, any chance that you literally told me, I cannot wait until the day you turn 18 and get the fuck out of my house. So I was like, don't sit here and backdoor as if you was going to let me stay there after I was 18. You've been telling me since I was 12, you couldn't wait for me to get the fuck up out of there. We all know how teenagers are. Rebels. Rebels. Yeah, I know that. Rebels. And so, you know, absolutely. When I turned 16, there was one day where I had a job and I was fed up. And I don't know where the fuck I was going to go. I don't, like, to be honest, I crashed out and I don't remember what I did, okay? I was a teenager. I was just trying to scare his ass probably. Like, I had a car at that point. So I probably was like, I'm going to live out of my car. Like, I don't know how I'm going to make it, but I'm going to live out of my car. But I sure brought my ass the fuck back home. Because I do remember there was one time that I ran away. I didn't take shit with me. You know what I'm saying? That time I didn't take shit with me. And then I came right back. But I do remember a time that I did pack my bags. And I didn't leave. Like, I came right fucking back. Bitch, I was 16. Stop being a dick. And so he was like, when I told him, like, you know, whatever, he was like, so you're blaming me because you chose to leave at 18? I was like, motherfucker, you made it impossible for me to live there. I was not allowed to have a job. Yet I was always being told that I don't pay for shit in the fucking house. I eat up all the fucking food. I'm a burden on you. But I'm not allowed to have a job because I don't have a curfew. I don't have an allowance to be able to go out. Like, There is no like, oh, you can be home by 12. It's you're not allowed to go anywhere. You need to go to school and come right back home. The hell? So of course, when I turned 18, right, and when I met my husband, I was like, I'm gonna get the fuck up out of here. I'm gonna get the fuck up out of here. I'm gone. I'm gone. Now, was that the best way to go about things? Not really. Okay, I can admit that now. But at that point and at that age, it was like I was not safe at home. So I had to get the fuck up out of there. And that's exactly what I did. I got the fuck up out of there. And so, you know, he's basically like, you know, like, see, you fucked up your life. Like, you know, from that point, he was just like, see, you fucked up your life. Like, you chose to leave at 18. And now you're, like, coming back and blaming me and talking about how your cousins was able to, like, stay with their parents for free and blah, 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 blah. And I was just like, so you made it impossible for me to stay at home. You don't want to take any accountability for the fact that, like, you basically forced me to fucking leave. And then you're telling me that it's because of my bad decisions that I'm where it is that I'm at. But again, I made my bad decisions based on what the fuck you taught me. And I was like, it wasn't until I recognized Dad doesn't know shit. Doesn't know what the fuck he talking about. Let me unlearn some of the stuff that he taught me and learn new things. That is when I started making better decisions. The combination of finding out what the fuck did not work from what it is that I was taught, and then taking my life experiences and choosing different. Message. So I was like, yeah, you in a way helped me by showing me what not to do. But that doesn't change the fact that you showed me what not to do. And so it was like, you know, he was just like, okay, and like, whatever. Like, he was like, whatever, V. He was like, you and your brother just always blame me for everything that's bad in your life. He was like, y'all don't know how to, like, be grateful for anything. And I was just like, you want us to be grateful for you barely doing the bare minimum? I was like, you see how you fucked us up? But we still found a way to know, like, find out what made us happy. He was like, well, you know, I gave you that house. Nobody ever gave me a house. I gave your brother my business. Nobody ever gave me a business. I was like, yeah, because you gave Ton that business because you gave me the house and my brother the business because you wanted us to be your retirement plan. That's the only reason why you gave Ton that shop. Because you wanted to make sure that if I couldn't give you money, Ton could give you money. And if Ton couldn't give you money, I could give you money. After you've been, what? Stingy as fuck, cheap as fuck our entire life. And then I was like, and you never gave me the house. The house was never mine. You said it out of your mouth. Oh, yeah, this is a place. I'm giving this to you. If this was mine, you would have put the house in my name. You would have texted me before coming over every single fucking day to take a shower. You wouldn't hold over my head? Oh, I let y'all have the house. All I did was come up there to shower. I gave y'all the house and chose to stay at the shop myself. You chose to do that. I was like, you wanted to stay at the shop and not at the house with us because you was talking to bitches. There you, Callie. I was like, you stayed at the shop for your privacy, my guy, not because you was trying to give me privacy. I was like, you didn't want me to know about your girlfriend. Did you? My mama died May of 2021. November of 20... No, my mom died in 2020. So May of 2020. November of 2021 was when he introduced me to his girlfriend. And by the looks of it, they had been talking for months. Okay? Months. Meaning that he could not have been talking to this lady while my mom was still alive. And I feel like he knew that I would have figured that out if he was staying in the house. Because the girl that he was talking to at that time, she had a big ass mouth. Like her ass would accidentally slip saying shit. You get what I'm trying to say? So I already knew. Like she might have accidentally said something about like something that they did before my mom died. You get what I'm trying to say? And I would have figured it out. So he didn't want any kind of like slip ups. You get what I'm trying to say? So I was like, oh, that's why you did what you did. And then sat there and was like, oh no, I blah, 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 blah. Like, I was trying to give you your privacy. I gave y'all the house completely. And like, I took less for myself and da, 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 da. And it's just like, you was out here doing everything that you wanted to do, sir. What you mean? I was like, ever since he gave us the house, right? And ever since my mom passed, this man has been in Vietnam for at least 6 months out of the year, every year. Every year. Where the fuck he got this money to do that shit while he's extracting money from me and my brother? I don't fucking know. Exactly. And then he sat there and y'all, he went to, okay, so he had went to Germany for my aunt's wedding, right? Because my aunt had got married. One, he told my aunt that he didn't have no money, so she needed to buy his plane ticket. That was a fucking lie. That's number one. Number two, when he went to Germany, like my aunt told me this, he didn't pay for a fucking thing. He was out there on everybody else's dime. She was like, he didn't even pay for an ice cream cone. And she was like, the thing was, she was like, we weren't tripping about it because we hadn't seen him in so long. So we were like, okay, this is my brother. He just lost his wife, like apparently his kids are terrible to him. Let's treat our brother. You get what I'm trying to say? So yeah, the entire time that he was out there, he told everybody that he was forced to sell the house because me and my husband and my brother were so dirty and we didn't keep the house clean and all this and the third. Y'all, the truth was that house was roach infested when we moved in. I was like, so he didn't tell y'all that as soon as my mom died, he couldn't take care of the house. So he forced me to find somebody that he could rent it to. And those people fucked up the house. Because when my mom was alive, she did pest control. And I'm going to let you know, if you don't have a house, I'm going to let you know right now. Okay? Just like our apartments are, and they got pest control every single whatever, right? They pay for a pest control, right? When you have a house, you have to do that. Confirmation. You have to get pest control. You have to make sure that like your weathering strips and stuff are sealed. You have to make sure that any fucking entryway that bugs and shit can get into your fucking house, right, is defended and protected. See, he didn't do that. He didn't do that. He ain't do that. He ain't do that. So when he rented the house out to somebody else, right, him being the landlord, that's his responsibility. He didn't take care of it. He put that responsibility on them. They didn't do it. You know what I'm saying? They didn't do it. So when we got into the house, right, we was literally fighting a roach infestation from day one. Day one. Day one. And y'all already know, Houston is hot as fuck. We're also very fucking humid. Okay? And at that time, like, the area that we lived in, bro, it would just, like how I said, like, it just made it worse because if you think about it, you doing pest control defends your house from the outside. If everybody else in your neighborhood is doing their pest control, what's going to happen if you're the only house that does not do pest control? Logic. Okay, right? So, logically, you get what I'm saying? Because our house essentially was the only house that for that entire year he rented out to those people was not protected, right? That already created like an infestation that was hidden, that we couldn't see. Right? Then, and of course, as we're staying there, it's getting fucking worse. Like, it's just getting out of fucking control to the point where, like, I'm using every fucking thing. Okay? Using every fucking thing. And we can't get rid of them bitches. We can't get rid of them bitches. And he sat there and literally blamed us for that. And told everybody. He was gone. Like, that's why my aunt was pissed. She was like, I can't. She was like, to be honest, I'm pissed off at your dad all over again. She was like, because she was like, that's one thing I don't condone is talking shit about your children. You know, like, those are your children. And she was like, the entire time that he was in Germany at my wedding and over there and stuff, she was like, he was just talking mad shit about you and your brother. Meanwhile, he never did anything to help y'all. He never did anything to set y'all up for success. And he was sitting here talking about, I spoil my children. I do too much for my children. And I was like, yeah. I was like, auntie, he was projecting onto you. Like, that shit hurt her because she was like, he always said that I was jealous of him. And I was like, yeah, because he was jealous of you. I was like, he was jealous of you. I was like, he's sitting here talking about all the shit that he did for you. He wasn't even grateful for all the stuff that my aunt did for us, bro. The fuck do you mean? We couldn't come to the United States unless you were sponsored. You can't come into the United States unless you're sponsored. Why do y'all think now immigration is such a big deal? Because people stopped getting sponsored. People started just coming to the United States on visas and staying. They just started coming to the United States on vacation and staying. People started sneaking into the United States. That's the reason why they were so fucking crazy about fucking immigration. Because, yeah, when we came into the United States, we did shit the right way. So, yeah, they had to pay for paperwork. You get what I'm trying to say? My aunt had to pay for paperwork. And she told me, she was like, technically they were going to cancel your paperwork to be able to get here. She was like, the reason why y'all was able to get here is because when you get sponsored, right, you have the person that's sponsoring you to come here. But obviously, you have to be able to prove that once you move here to the United States, you're going to create income, which means what? You got to have a job offering, right? So just like how, like, if let's say you're trying to get an apartment, right, and you just got a new job, you don't have a job right now, but you got money in the bank, right? You got to present the apartments with a offer letter. You got to present the apartments with a letter from your employer that says, hey, we have hired this person. This is how much we're paying them per hour. You get what I'm trying to say? And this is how much, like, their salary is projected to be. So the same thing with sponsorship. So, like, when we moved to the United States, right, my aunt went and found, like, my aunt's husband at the time went and found my dad a job at BMW. Well, guess what? BMW didn't want to give the offer letter. They didn't want to say how much they were paying him. And she knew that by them doing that, his application was going to get denied because he didn't have enough proof. So what did she do? She backed him with her income. And then when we first came to the United States, and I remember the first night that we were there. Okay, I remember the first night that I remember when we first came, and I remember distinctly the first night. Because I remember when we first came, we didn't have anything. We didn't have shit. Like, maybe the clothes on our back and like 1 or 2 suitcases. Maybe, at max. When we flew into the United States, we didn't have shit. Okay, we didn't have nothing. Because everything that we owned was still being shipped. And see, now looking back, I'm like, that's terrible timing on my parents' part. Because it's like, why would you have us move to a country and have everything else coming like 2-3 weeks later? The fuck are we going to do for the first 2-3 weeks, right? And so we didn't have blankets, okay? And at that time, I think it was cold in Houston. Or it was cold in the United States, like just a little chilly. It was starting to be fall time. So we didn't have shit. Again, we didn't have fucking nothing, right? My aunt went and filled up our fridge. She went and got us blankets. She went and got everything that we needed, like all of our necessities that we needed. And he always acted like she ain't did shit, bro. That's why when he told me, like, you and your brother always see what I didn't do for you. You never saw what I did for you. And I was like, bro, you're projecting. You really projecting. Like, I can take accountability that, yes, I don't say thank you to my dad as often as I should. But motherfucker, you don't, dead ass, you don't deserve that shit. That's like a man that like hits his wife and then brings her a flower and says, oh, I'm so sorry, and expects the wife to say thank you for the flowers. Every good deed this man has ever done has been after he fucked up, after he did something real fucking bad. Yet he wants gratitude for it. It was like all this transpiring, right? Because this is the thing. I've asked the universe a couple of times in the last couple of months, right? I was like, universe, I need to see. I was like, universe, I know that I need to heal that part of me that doesn't believe that I'm good enough. I was like, universe, God, I know that I need to heal that part of myself that does not believe that I deserve goodness, that does not believe that I deserve happiness, that does not believe that I deserve love, that does not believe that I deserve to be taken care of. Like, show me. Like, I was like, show me what I need to know. Show me what I need to know. Show me what I need to heal. Show me what I need to be aware of. Show me what it is that I have to like take accountability for, responsibility for. Like, just show me. And when I say God has fucking shown me in these last 4 months, what? 4 months? October, November, December, January, almost February. 4 months. In the last 4 months, It's just like when I tell y'all everything works out for your best and highest good, it really does. It really does. It really does. It really does, because it's like with this separation right now, it's like whether me and my husband get back, like whether we can reconciliate or separate, we're on great terms now. Like we're on better terms than we were before all of this transpired. And so for me, it's just like, even if we end up not being together, it's okay. Because now we know what it is that we need to know. But if we want to come back together, we needed all of this to transpire. We needed this separation in order for us to truly integrate and live and embody the life and the version of ourselves that we really truly want to be. Message. Because it was like, for me, I needed that solitude and that time alone to truly do what it is that I wanted to do without having somebody else there. And for him, the same thing. He has to be able to do what he needs to do as a man, as a husband, as a partner, without me being there all the time trying to tell him what to do. Message? Message. And now I'm starting to realize maybe the real reason why like unions and marriages and stuff don't work out sometimes is because we're still following societal standards and conditioning. Because what I've come to realize is that, like when my husband had said this one thing, it like gave me an epiphany. So he was saying, he was like, I asked him, I was like, why? I was like, okay. I was like, I feel like you went and you was trying to like talk to other women and stuff, right? Because you felt like you needed to have female friends because I have male friends. But I was like, with my male friends, there is no weird, you get what I'm trying to say? There is no weird energy there. And I was like, that's for me. I was like, I don't give a fuck if my friend has a crush on me. You get what I'm trying to say? Like, if they don't come to me and tell me about that, that ain't none of my fucking business. And I'm not going to come and question my friend if they have never given me a reason to feel like that. You get what I'm saying? And so it was like, oh, yeah. It's like, true. And I was like, you're trying to justify that, like, oh yeah, like, basically, like, in a way, you're trying to protect yourself from what it is that you think that I'm doing. Because for me, and I've taken accountability for this, I can be reckless at the fucking mouth. But I'm honest. I'm honest. I'm honest. I'm honest. But I was reckless. Okay? I can admit that I was honest as fuck. But I was also reckless. Okay? In the moment, I would be like, I'm telling the truth. While knowing that, okay, there could be a better way to communicate this. Or there could be a better way for me to say this. But in the moment, because I'm hurt, because I'm in pain, what did I do? I inflicted that pain onto him. Just like how I said, I was like, yeah, I can admit that, like, by me saying, like, when I was angry, like, oh, I'm gonna go mess around with somebody else, I'm gonna go talk to somebody else, whatever, right? That was the thing that pushed him to go behind my back and talk to people and then just never follow through with the fucking shit and then get caught doing that fucking shit. Again, he should have never went and fucking did that. But then also, again, I shouldn't have never said the shit that I fucking said and made him believe that I was actually doing something like that, or I was actually capable of doing that, when we all know I'm not capable. I know that. You know that. You know what I'm saying? But again, if I was sitting there convincing himself so bad, you get what I'm trying to say? Message. I couldn't be upset at the fact that he believed me. And then just because I'm honest about when I get mad and I'm like, oh yeah, you don't want to give me attention, I'm going to go get attention from somewhere else. I can't expect him. Again, like, we can't expect a certain response or reaction when we do certain things. You get what I'm trying to say? And I realize now, I was like, part of the reason why I acted like that was because that's what I was taught. Just like how my daddy don't fucking take accountability for fucking shit, right? Don't know how to be grateful for fucking shit, right? I was also similar in that way, in another way. And I didn't want to admit that. I didn't want to admit that. I didn't want to recognize that, right? It's like, I'm going to be honest, up until like recently, I've never been good at apologizing. I wasn't. I always felt like everything that I did was justified by what happened to me. Message. And that's kind of a fucked up way to live life. And that's why my life was so fucked up for so long. Because God was like, baby, you're not living life the right way. You're not doing what's right for you. And dudes, to be honest, there's a part of me that's like on this theory right here, right? I have this theory right here. So, marriage on paper is a legally binding contract. Okay? And just take that real quick, okay? We all know the story of Adam and Eve. Correct. We all can agree on the version of the story, like how the story goes. Correct. Which means subconsciously, we all accept the story of Adam and Eve. Okay, now let's break down what the story is, okay? The story is that God created Adam. Eve was created from a rib from him. So already, again, if you accept the story, you accept the story. Okay? Meaning, if you don't question that part right there, right? That means that you believe, okay, Eve came from Adam. Right? Just like how Adam is what indebted it to God almost, right? Eve is now indebted to Adam and God. Message. Okay, second part of the story. We all know what happens with the whole apple. Okay? We all know that Eve eats the apple first. And then she gives it to Adam. And then Adam eats the apple. Now, the part that they don't always fucking smooth over is the fact that Adam always had a choice. So technically, if Eve just ate the apple and Adam didn't eat the apple, right? They would have never technically gotten kicked out of Eden. But they got kicked out of Eden because the man who was supposed to be the leader did what his woman told him to do. Message. Y'all popping correlations here. Y'all popping correlations here. Message. Yes, that's why there are so many men that are irresponsible and blame women. And there are so many women who are overly responsible and blame men. Yeah, look at me breaking it down. Look at me breaking down the programmings and conditionings. So what I realized was that just like how I just wrote down that story, right? And correlated it to certain societal conditionings and programmings. Realize and recognize all stories and narratives that you believe are also programming and conditioning for you. And that's why, like, yeah, as an adult, right? One of the things that I feel like they say a lot and very often that I feel like is semi-true, okay? And semi-true because we have free will, okay? They tell us that, okay, if by the age of 25 or 35, you have not changed your ways, you will never change. You are now stuck in your ways, right? When the truth of the reality is, like, it might be harder for you to change or shift or whatever the fuck because you've been stuck in your ways for 30-something years. But through free will, you have the ability to completely change your fucking life. Message. The only reason why not so many people have completely changed their whole fucking lives is because we're just now coming into the tools and resources that will allow us to live a full fucking happy life. Message. Message. And what I realized by going through this, like, divorce or separation, or like this time of separation basically with my husband, is that back to the, like, marriage being on paper as a legal construct, right? Just like how Eve belonged to Adam, okay? A wife belongs to her husband on paper. On paper. On paper. So what I've come to realize really is that one of the underlying factors that, like, really destroyed my marriage, okay, or like broke both of us down and apart, was that construct of marriage, the one that they assigned to us, the one that they taught us. Message. And what I've come to realize now is that you can either take what they give you and not question it, or you can take what they give you and question it. Like, you can take what they give you, see that it doesn't work, not question it, or take what they give you, see that it does not work, and be like, the fuck is this? What's this? A message. And I feel like that's why recently I've been getting, ever since I'm not gonna lie, ever since I saw Leo Skeppy's video, I've been wanting to read the Bible for the sole purpose of breaking that bitch down. For the sole purpose of breaking down all the societal conditioning and programming that is in it. And also to show, like, okay, this is what we really need to be focusing on. Because I realized what they ended up doing with the Bible is that it's a devil and a, like an angel and a devil at the same time. Message. 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 Come on in. Come on in. Baby, we've been together for 11 years and he just starting to get it. Like, yeah, you get what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying? Like, so I come to realize, I was like, okay, the Bible makes you accept the devil. Yeah, it show you the way to God. Yeah, okay. It show you how to stay connected to God. Okay. But how the fuck are you supposed to do that if you don't recognize what is really programming you to believe in evil and bad and all this fucking stuff, right? apart from what elevates and uplifts and expands you. Message. And I understand that's exactly why they have the Old Testament and the New Testament. I get that. Okay? I get that. Message. But that doesn't take away from the fact, right, that up until this point, it's really been like a free-for-all. Here's the Bible. Do whatever you want with it. And we done seen some people do whatever they want with it. Okay? Some of the biggest businesses in this country are churches. I mean, we got In God We Trust on the fucking currency. Separation of God and government where? A message. A message. Andres, if you want a reading, you better book a reading. Message. A message. That part. And it's all untaxed. And let me point this out too. Churches are the biggest businesses that are untaxed, that don't do shit for their community. Baby, I'm never gonna let go of the fact that Joel Osteen did not help nobody voluntarily when Harvey hit. And he has the biggest fucking church in Houston. If I'm not mistaken, Lakewood is the biggest fucking church facility in Houston. And he did not want to open his doors up when Hurricane Harvey hit. And this man lives in a $4 million house. I think in the Woodlands or Sugarland or somewhere. He got a couple of properties. Untaxed. Motherfucker, you not paying no fucking tax on none of this money. And you couldn't help nobody. I mean, that girl had came on TikTok and did a social experiment where she went and called churches, asking them like, "Hey, you know, I'm a single mother, and I ran out of formula. Exactly, I ran out of formula, and I need formula." And none of them big fucking churches helped. The only people that were willing to help were people that did not, that like barely had enough to help. The dope boys helped. And now if you think about it, that's why the fuck, think about it. Okay, think about it. 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 Okay. Why did they create the anti-drug abuse, what was it, 86? Yeah. Why do you think they created the Anti-Drug Abuse Act of 1986? Because in the early 80s, the pimps, the drug dealers, the mobsters, they were the ones taking care of the fucking community. They were the ones taking care of the community. Why do you think that's a culture in like doughboys and stuff? They always have taken care of their community. The fuck you mean? Doughboys everywhere. From New York to Cali. They take care of their fucking community. You see it on BMF. Meech is real. He's not only a real person, but that character that's being portrayed on that show, in that exact time frame, you saw how on the show, all Meech does is try to help people. All he does is try to help his community, make sure his people are good. So now it makes sense as to why 86, they started catching on to like all these drug dealers and all these motherfuckers doing stuff and doing what they're supposed to do for their community, right? What's that doing? That's empowering people. That's uplifting people. People are getting free in the fucking mind now. Think about it. The 80s is right after the 70s, right after the 60s. All the music that was written in the 70s was written under psychedelic influence. That is why music from the 70s is on a completely different vibe and timeline than the music now. So the Anti-Drug Abuse Act of 86 essentially weaponized all of the things that was helping free this world. Why do you think that they made psychedelics and weed illegal, but kept cigarettes and alcohol legal? We all know that they prohibited alcohol and brought it back. Why? Because they needed the cash flow from it. Come on now, baby. They made so much money off. They lost so much money prohibiting alcohol that they were like, you know what? All these motherfuckers are still making alcohol any fucking ways. Clearly, this is something the people fucking want. Let's just do that and then tax it. Message. It's so heavy on. Think why they promote over sexuality. Why do you think they promote if you can't handle me at my worst, you can't have me at all? Sometimes you at your worst, you at your lowest, bitch, that just is unacceptable. Sometimes the behavior that you have when you are at your lowest and at your worst is unacceptable. So it's like, yeah, they promote certain things, right? And we've started to see this on the social media. Like when everybody started being aware of algorithm, right? The word algorithm, everybody knows the word, and somehow everybody just knows what that means. We just know how it functions and know what it means, right? So it was like, when people started paying attention to the algorithm and they're like, okay, I'm paying attention to what I am consuming, right? I know that I'm consuming things that are uplifting me or benefiting me. Okay, so why do I keep on saying bullshit? Message. Why do I keep on saying bullshit? Wait, who's just sent me a request? Not right now, D. It's like, why do I keep on saying not what it is that I'm trying to program my algorithm to see? And I feel like for people who do like work on the interwebs and online, right? We started to notice like, okay, if I'm putting a certain energy out there and I was getting it back, right? How come when I was putting this energy out there and I started getting it back and that was going good, right? Why did that stop? Why did that happen? And then, of course, it's not a coinkydink when the CIA dropped all them documents, right? Because really, those documents explained exactly why every time you would get ahead in life, there's something pulling you down. Every time you get your head above water, you get pulled back down. Message? Because on a mass scale, there was something else that was happening. Message? On a mass scale, right? There were certain people, and we call them elites, okay? There's certain groups of people or certain people that know things that the rest of the population does not know. Message? That's where ignorance is bliss comes from. Because if you don't know, hey, you don't know. If you don't know, you don't know, right? So For example, right? Them knowing that everything is a simulation and that people can change their simulation. People can change things. People can do things, right? Why else do you think they put things in place to prevent that? Message? 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 Think about the internet, you guys. Think about the internet, you guys. The creation of the internet, I'm telling you, it's all like repeat, okay? The internet essentially was created as mass control, mass form of control. It was always going to evolve into something, right? Where they will attempt to use it to control the population. And if you think about it, they've successfully done that. Because if you think about it, algorithm is written by something. It's created by something. Something has to create an algorithm. An algorithm doesn't just automatically exist out of where. Somebody has to put in parameters. Somebody has to put in certain settings. You get what I'm trying to say? So it's like we have to recognize like our information is only as good as the source that it comes from. Message. Message. I've come to realize now that's why the fuck my messages be hitting up. Especially since October, my messages have been hitting up. And I feel like my messages have really been hitting in the last like week or so because I haven't really used the cards that much. I haven't used no tarot cards since October. And now it makes sense. Like, now, like, you see how the correlation, it just makes sense. It just makes sense. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being present. Thank you for experiencing this journey with me. Because it's like, I always say I am being the change that I want to see. And now more than ever, I see how imperative it is for me to keep saying that, keep doing that, keep showing up, and keep on taking up space. Message. Now I realize like anytime that I feel like I don't want to do something or I don't want to whatever, or really I don't want to do what's right for me, what's best for me, whatever, there's something out there that's putting that energy on me. And I realize now like it could be as simple as like the government putting a spell out there where it's like every time that somebody gets hope, destroy it. You get what I'm trying to say? And the thing is that like, okay, they can attempt to destroy it. You get what I'm trying to say? But message, whether or not they can destroy it is up to you. Message. Because this is kind of like, okay, you know, when you're little, you're playing with blocks, somebody can come and knock your blocks over. Message. Well, in this instance, message, they can't come knock over your block. Okay? They can't. They can't knock over your block. Unless you think that they can. Message. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I just love the correlations, I swear. And that's the reason why I want to read the Bible. Okay? Because honestly, when I started going back to church and like my coaches, my old high school coaches' church, everything he was saying, everything that was being said in the readings, everything that was being said in the sermon, I've said at some point in time. Like there were certain points that he was making, right? That was very inspirational, that was very motivating and stuff. And I was like, oh my God, I've said the same exact things. And I didn't read that verse. Or I didn't read that book. But how have I alluded to that exact story without knowing the story? Message? Message. How have I referred to that exact scripture and never read that scripture? And in that moment, I realized my relationship with God has always transcended the Bible. Can a lot of people say that their relationship with God transcends the Bible? And then I realized that my fear of sharing that is what's going to ultimately free me and so many other people. Message? Message? Message! Because again, that's a balance, right? That's a balance. 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 So it's like I had to realize that, like, okay, for me, right? If I've been already referencing certain things out of the Bible that are in alignment, that means that I have to go through and read the entire Bible for me to see what is not in alignment in the Bible, right? And protect my damn self from that. And teach others how to fucking protect themselves from that as well. And I realized I can do that in real time. I can do that in real time. So yeah, I'm starting a new, I'm gonna go get a Bible, okay? And then I'm gonna start a new series on YouTube, okay? Where I have to look at the Bible first to see like how I'm gonna do, but maybe like we can break down like, I don't know, 5 or 10 pages at a time or something, or like a book at a time. You get what I'm trying to say? Like, I can read it. Yeah, I could read it over myself and then pull whatever it is that I need to pull from it, or like, you know, recognize whatever I recognize from it, and then that's what I'll share. Sounds good? Sounds good? That sounds good. It's giving Bible study, but also like in a way that's transcended. Like it's not the traditional Bible study. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So one thing I word. I'm telling you. Exactly. Because I feel like to a certain extent, that's why I didn't resonate with like Bible studies, or that's why I didn't resonate with certain things that like the church and stuff had been doing for a long time. Because I was like, bitch, you just walking everybody in a circle. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all really just walking everybody in a circle, making everybody chase their own fucking tails. Like, low-key, y'all not elevating or transcending or helping the consciousness evolve. A message? Because I realized, like, for my relationship with God to truly transcend the Bible, I do got to know what the Bible says. I do need to know. You get what I'm trying to say? And if I am transcending Christianity, that also means that I need to know the word of the Quran. That also means that I need to know. Come on. Come on now. That means that, yeah, I do need to dive and start to study these spiritual texts. Because it's very much so like, I am a leader in this. Like, I am a leader in this new way of thinking and this new way of living. So it's like, if I just start, it will get done. Message. Because again, they teach us ignorance is bliss, so that we believe that if we're stupid and we don't know, then it's okay. But if we're stupid when we don't know, then we're stupid and we don't know. Message. Rather than we can be stupid and not know and be open to learning. Message. We can't be not know nothing. You get what I'm trying to say? But also recognize like, oh, I don't know that. Let me learn it. And then there is like oh, I don't know that, and oh, I don't need to know. Do you not need to know, or do they just want you not to know? Come on now. I'm on a roll today. Yeah, I think we're going to save this live, okay? We're going to save this live, and we're going to post it on YouTube. And mostly for the reason of the fact that, like, one, I completely talked in this live. So it's not like, you know, the other lives that I've been doing. So this is kind of different. And I kind of want to start doing this more. I do want to do this more. I was like, maybe next time. Well, I'm going to see how it saves the video. And then maybe next time we'll do it like sideways like this. So that way when I upload it onto YouTube, it will be like that side, you know, whatever. But I will upload this one onto YouTube because I feel like we had just so many revelations in here today. Just discussing the revelations. Like just discussing the revelations and things that I've like experienced and been through and like realized and whatnot. Like I can feel that everybody else that is in the room right now, present, past, present, or future, because this is timeless, I can feel that there has been a shift that has happened as a result of me just showing up and just talking throughout this live and now like choosing to post it. I can just feel that there's a shift, you know, like there's a global shift that is like, it's like a wave, you know, like they do the wave, yeah, at the stadium. Yeah, that's what it feels like. It feels like I started the wave and I'm watching it go around the stadium. That's what it's feeling like. That's what it's giving. That's the energy that it's giving. All right, y'all. I'm going to go take a little nappy nap, okay? A little nappy nap, a little break. And then I'll probably be back later on to do some readings, to provide some energy healing. That's so excited! I feel like these lives have been really, really good. And then like how I told y'all, like, because of the separation, I low-key have more time now. So actually, in the past, I could never do lives at nighttime. But now I can do lives at nighttime. So I'm feeling like tonight might be a nighttime live. You know what I'm saying? It's giving maybe around like 7 or 8 o'clock. A little bits. A little bits. A little bits. I'm like, that's what it's giving. That's what it's giving. All right, let's do a quick prayer. Thank you, universe, as always, for allowing me to host a sacred safe space. Thank you for allowing each and every single one of these beautiful souls to be here in divine timing. And as always, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, universe. Thank you, God. Ooh, just keep on showing us how easy our lives can actually be. And to show us how good it can truly get. And so it is, and as it should be. Ashe. And knowledge is definitely power, okay? That's what I realized throughout this live, you know what I'm saying? And that's why I'm going to be reposting it onto YouTube, because I'm like, yeah, it's about time. It's about time for me to stop fucking holding anything back. Just like how when I was going through what I was going through and I didn't hold shit back, at this point, baby, I ain't holding shit back, okay? I'm just not doing it. I'm just not doing it. And neither should you, okay? All right. I love y'all. If you need to sign up for mentorship, babies, y'all already know where to go. Link in the bio, okay? If you need to apply for mentorship, go apply. If you're ready to sign up right away, okay? Click the link in my bio. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of the link tree and just create a web page. I've been hearing a lot of people on Threads say that like it really increases their like website traffic and whatnot. So I was just like, That sounds like a good idea. So I'm going to do that. Okay? I'm going to do that. So by the time that y'all see me on live next, I'm going to have a new link in the bio. Okay? Okay, we getting to work, baby. All right. All right, I love y'all.